Early arrival exposes Millionaire's heartwarming rescue. Stepmother kicks daughter, his life cha. Evan Jackson stepped into the small, cluttered dining room, the faint aroma of pot roast mingling with a tension so thick it felt like a brick wall. The room buzzed with chatter, familiar voices exchanging pleasantries, but for Evan, the laughter sounded like thunder. His heart raced as he scanned the faces of family he hadn't seen in years, but his gaze locked on Lydia, his estranged stepmother. She stood with her calculated smile, sharp as a knife, her eyes narrowed at his grease-stained hands, the hands of a mechanic, the hands of a worker who cared more for engines than for wealth. The gathering felt surreal, like a strange dream. Just days ago, he was tinkering with old parts in his family's struggling auto shop, where hard work was valued over status. Now, he was supposed to navigate this minefield, caught off guard by news that he inherited a fortune from a late uncle, a tech mogul he hardly knew. Before Evan could even process the news, Lydia's icy tone sliced through the air. "Look at you, Evan. Still in that dirty uniform?" She sneered, her disdain palpable. Evan felt a heat rise within him, unfurling into a protective fire. He had dedicated his life to fixing not just cars but the lives of those around him, embracing the honest, blue-collar spirit of Maplewood. Just then, his half-sister Mia stood up for him, defiance shimmering in her eyes, challenging their stepmother with every ounce of courage she had. "Don't talk to him like that, Lydia. He works hard." Mia's voice rang out, echoing through the oppressive silence that enveloped them. But Lydia was relentless, her scorn a tempest. "He's a loser, just like you. I won't have you both under my roof anymore." With a vicious shove, she pushed Mia towards the door, and the room gasped, a collective intake of breath that quivered with disbelief. Evan's chest tightened. This was his family, his support, crumbling under the weight of Lydia's cruelty. The reeling emotions crashed into Evan like a tidal wave. He was torn. Would he challenge Lydia openly, risking Mia's safety and their fragile bond? Or would he play her game, wearing the mantle of privilege while the working-class heroes of Maplewood fought their daily battles? The faces of his friends and neighbors flashed before him, each one a reminder of the town's resilience, a testament to a past rooted in dignity and devotion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Evan felt the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders. He glanced at Mia, whose eyes sparkled with hurt and hope. The question loomed larger than life. What did it truly mean to support family? Was it worth sacrificing everything he believed in to win a place in Lydia's world? As the storm raged on around them, Evan inhaled deeply, his resolve hardening that he could either let his roots nourish the earth or let them be pulled up for the glitter of riches. The air crackled with reality, and with it, Evan knew one thing for sure: he was standing at the crossroads of change, and the choice he made would ripple through more than just his own life. As he grasped for courage, the moment hung suspended, calling to him. The path ahead felt uncertain, yet it twinkled with the possibilities of standing up for justice, family, and the essence of hard work. What would he choose? Evan took a step forward, heart pounding. He caught Mia's gaze, a silent question hanging between them. Would they stand together against Lydia's venomous words? Or would they retreat, allowing her to shred the last threads of their fragile family ties? "Stop!" Evan finally shouted, his voice quaking with a mixture of fear and determination. The room fell into a stunned silence. He could feel all eyes on him, some filled with curiosity, others with sympathy, but Lydia's were ablaze with fury. "Don't you dare raise your voice at me!" she shrieked, her mask of civility tumbling away. "You think some inheritance makes you better than us? Look at you. You'll always be that kid who played with tools in a dirt lot." The rawness of her words stung, but Evan refused to buckle. Maybe I prefer grease and engines to fake smiles and manipulative games, he shot back, his heart refusing to back down. You may have forced Mia out, but I won't let you push me around. Not now or ever. Mia moved beside him, emboldened by his stand. You can't treat us like this anymore, Lydia, she said, her voice shaking but unwavering. We deserve better. We're family. Lydia's eyes widened as if she had been slapped. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating, until she broke it with a sneer that twisted her lips. You're both a joke. The higher-ups will eat you alive if you think you stand a chance here. You'll regret this. I guarantee it. Evan felt the weight of ambient disbelief around him. His uncle's wealth wasn't merely a pile of cash, it was a new beginning. They could use it to build something real, something that mattered, but first, he had to fight for what was right. And just like that, the confidence surged within him. You're right about one thing, Lydia. We're not on the same level. You've built your life on power and manipulation, but Mia and I have built ours on hard work and genuine love. That's something you can't take away. Lydia stepped back, lips pursed, rage boiling over, yet her composure began to crack. Maybe she was losing her grip, unraveling in front of them all. Evan held that thought close, it was empowering. So what's it going to be, Lydia? He pressed, voice steady now. Will you keep bullying us, or will you find a way to support your family? We can create something good from this together. Or you can continue this war, but know that we're not backing down. The others murmured among themselves, watching the confrontation unfold as if it were a scene straight out of a movie. Evan wanted to catch a glimpse of admiration or encouragement in their eyes, but most remained unsure. After what felt like an eternity, Lydia finally spoke, her voice dripping with disdain. Don't think this is over. It's just begun. Her gaze dared him to fold. But this time, Evan stood firm, his mind racing at the possibilities of what lay ahead. With the decision made, one question stayed on his mind: how could he transform this inheritance into a beacon of hope for Mia, for Maplewood, despite Lydia's looming shadow? As the tension in the room tightened, their resolve flickered like a fragile flame, igniting something untamed within. Evan turned to Mia, whose eyes were determined. Together, they would have to craft a new story, one that reshaped their lives and the community around them. But as he began to think of their next steps, another reality dawned on him. What depths would Lydia sink to in an attempt to regain control? In that moment of clarity, he knew the battle was far from over. What would it take to protect their dreams and their future? Evan felt a wave of uncertainty wash over him as Lydia's words hung heavy in the air. She wouldn't back down easily. With a fire in her eyes, she took a step back, as if re-evaluating her next move. Mia stood tall beside him, but he sensed the anxiety radiating from her. They were at a crossroads, their next steps crucial. Let us get out of here, Evan said, gently nudging Mia toward the door. He could almost hear the palpable tension that lingered, but they needed to find sanctuary. Once outside, the crisp air hit their faces, refreshing yet laced with the sting of reality. The weight of Lydia's threat felt monstrous, a dark shadow looming over their newfound hope. We can't let her intimidate us again, Mia said, her voice steadying as they walked down the driveway. But what do we do next? I mean, she won't just disappear. Evan took a deep breath. We have to act. We need a plan. He thought about the inheritance. They needed to turn it into something positive. What if we start by talking to the town? Everyone knows what Lydia's like. Maybe we can get people on our side. Mia frowned, her brow furrowing. That might be risky. What if it backfires? What if she uses it against us? He hesitated for a heartbeat. But doing nothing isn't an option. We can't just sit back while she tries to tear us apart. If we present ourselves as a united front, we can protect what's ours. We have to make it known that we're serious. As they approached the old diner where they used to hang out as kids, Evan felt a hint of nostalgia seep in, reminding him of simpler times. "Let's grab a coffee. We can brainstorm there," he suggested. Inside, the familiar sounds of clinking mugs and the smell of fresh coffee soothed him, but the heaviness of their situation still hung over them. They slid into a booth, and Evan took a moment to appreciate the flickering neon lights. It was a small reminder that even in the chaos, there was light to be found. "What about starting a community project?" Mia said, her brows raising in intrigue. "We could use the inheritance to fund a new park or something. People would have to see us as more than Lydia's puppets." Evan's heart raced. Yes. A place for families, kids, something that brings everyone together. The idea fired him up. "And we can involve local businesses, attract attention, and show Lydia that we're not just playing around." A smile crept onto Mia's face. "You know she'll try to sabotage anything we do, right?" "Let her try," Evan said, certainty flooding his veins. "This is our chance to turn the tables." The conversation flowed, ideas morphing into a plan. They spent an hour, designing their vision on paper, sketching a future filled with laughter and light instead of darkness and division. It felt like they were grasping for a dream, and yet it felt right. As they finalized their outline, Evan couldn't shake the feeling that Lydia would retaliate. He wondered what she would orchestrate next. But in that cozy booth, surrounded by the smell of coffee, he vowed to protect what mattered most, their hope, their dreams, and their family bond. Suddenly, there was a tap on the window. Evan looked up to see a figure standing outside. His heart dropped. It was Lydia, eyes blazing with fury. Without missing a beat, she raised her phone and snapped a photo of them, a wicked smile creeping across her face. What is she planning now? He wondered, stomach twisting. It was becoming clear, the battle was only beginning, and they had to brace for a storm like no other. What would Lydia aim to unleash next? Evan's stomach twisted again as he watched Lydia lower her phone, a sinister glint in her eyes. "She's taking pictures?" he muttered, glancing at Mia, who was already staring at him. "It's not good," she said, worry etching deep lines on her forehead. "This can't end well." They hurriedly gathered their things, the excitement of the park project dimmed by Lydia's looming presence. Outside, Lydia leaned casually against a car, the corners of her mouth toying with a smug smile that sent chills down Evan's spine. Was it a warning? A challenge? Both? "Whatever you think you're doing, it's going to fail," Lydia yelled, drawing the attention of passers-by. "You think you can rally the town against me? How adorable." Evan clenched his fists but stood tall beside Mia, drawing strength from her presence. "We're just getting started," he called back, his voice steadier than he felt. "Good luck," Lydia replied, sarcasm dripping from her words. "You're going to need it." As they walked away, Evan felt a mix of anger and determination course through him. He knew this wouldn't be easy. The stakes were high, and the pressure of Lydia's threat loomed perilously over them. "Let us not think about her for now," Mia suggested as they crossed the street. "We need to focus. We can meet with some local council members, show them our plans. If we get enough support, Lydia will be in trouble." He couldn't help but admire her resolute spirit. "You're right. A meeting could be our best shot." They spent the rest of the afternoon drafting messages and telling family and friends about their ideas. The jokes and laughter about their childhood dreams filled the air, creating a bubble of hope that shielded them from Lydia's taunts. But Evan knew that their joy was fragile. It felt almost surreal, like a thin layer of happiness covering an impending storm. As evening approached, the sky turned a brilliant hue of orange, a stark contrast to the darkness that Lydia brought with her threats. They met a couple of supporters who were enthusiastic about the park idea. They shared their visions and exchanged numbers, laughing together like old friends. But just when Evan thought they might have a fighting chance, his phone buzzed with a message. The content froze him. A group chat had exploded with people forwarding Lydia's photograph of them at the diner, captioned with accusations of betrayal against their late father's legacy. Panic flickered in Mia's eyes. This is bad. Yeah, it is. Evan felt his heart race again. He hadn't expected Lydia to move this fast. What was once a simple act of defiance had now spiraled into a potential campaign against their every effort. It was personal now. Mia's voice broke through his spiraling thoughts. What do we do? Her gaze was fierce, yet there was a hint of fear behind it. We need to turn this around. We have to show them we're stronger than her lies. Each heartbeat echoed the weight of the moment. What if this was their chance to unite the town against Lydia? He took a deep breath, holding her gaze. We'll hold a meeting tomorrow. We'll show everyone the truth about what we're trying to do. As they turned to leave, a shout caught their attention. Lydia stormed toward them, a group of supporters in her wake. The dread settled in the pit of Evan's stomach. He was prepared for a confrontation, but this? It felt like the first blow of what might become an all-out war. Let us end this now, Lydia said, eyes blazing with a vengeful fury that appalled and fascinated Evan at the same time. What did she have planned, and would they be able to rally their town before it was too late? The battle line had been drawn, and the next few hours would determine everything. Evan's heart raced as Lydia approached, her followers flanking her like vultures. The tension crackled in the air, thick and suffocating. Mia's hand tightened around his wrist, a small anchor in the storm that was about to hit. Lydia paused just a few feet away, a smirk plastered across her face. What's wrong, Evan? Cat got your tongue? She taunted, her voice dripping with mockery. You should be worried. You're stepping into territory far beyond your capabilities. Evan opened his mouth to retort, but nothing came out. Words felt futile against the chaos bubbling up from within him. Instead, he took a step forward, determined to not let her intimidate him. We're standing up for what's right. The town deserves better than your schemes. Lydia's laughter rang out, sharp and piercing. What do you know about what's right? She shot back, glancing at her supporters to gauge their reactions. All you're doing is dragging your father's name through the mud. This is all just a game to you. You don't really care about the park. This is about revenge, isn't it? Mia stepped beside him, her voice steady. We care about this community, and what everyone stands to gain from it. Lydia waved her hand dismissively, as if brushing them off like annoying flies. Your emotional speeches won't work here. I control this town. I have friends everywhere. They'll believe me over empty promises. Evan felt the heat wash over him, a mix of anger and despair. You may have power here, but that doesn't mean you're right. Then let us put it to the test, Lydia spat back. You think you can rally this town? I'll show you just how good I am at pulling strings. The crowd that had begun to gather seemed uncertain, murmurs rippling like waves among them. Evan could sense the shift. Lydia's bravado was starting to falter. She was losing hold of her audience, and he felt a spark of hope ignite within him. What do you say, folks? Evan raised his voice, trying to reach the onlookers. Let us have a town meeting. Join us tomorrow, and hear what we have to offer. What Lydia want you to know. Mia's eyes lit up in agreement. We'll show you that we're here to fight for something bigger than ourselves. Together. Lydia's expression shifted, annoyance boiling beneath her cool facade. You're playing a dangerous game, Evan, she warned. Mark my words, it won't end well for you. A knot formed in Evan's throat, but he pressed on. Let us find out. Together. Just then, Lydia whipped around and began to walk away, her supporters uncertainly trailing behind her. Silence hung heavy in the air, until one person broke it. I'm in. I'll come to the meeting. One person became a handful, and Evan felt a wave of encouragement. Hope surged in his chest as more voices chimed in, pledging their support for the park project. As the tide began to turn, Mia whispered to him, "We need to keep this momentum." "Right," Evan replied, heart pounding with new purpose. "We'll get flyers out tonight. Email everyone we know." They turned away from the gathering, ready to take the next steps. But just as they began to leave, Lydia's voice echoed in the distance. "You think this is over?" "This is just the beginning." The warning hung in the air, a chilling reminder that the battle had only just begun. As they walked away, Evan could feel the shadows of uncertainty creep back, threatening to overshadow their growing hope. What did Lydia have planned, and could they fortify their resolve in time to stand against whatever was coming? The true fight was just ahead, and the stakes had never felt higher. Evan and Mia hurried down the street, fueled by a mix of adrenaline and purpose. They could feel the weight of the confrontation still lingering, but the shift in the crowd had ignited a fire in them. "We need to act fast. If we want people to show up tomorrow, we can't just rely on word of mouth," Evan said, determination hardening his voice. Mia nodded vigorously, her enthusiasm contagious. "Let's hit the coffee shops, the grocery store, even the schools. Everyone needs to know what's at stake. We have to make them see that the park is for the community and the future of this town, not just for us." As they passed the old diner, its neon sign flickered dimly, and nostalgia clouded Evan's mind. Memories floated back of weekend breakfasts, laughter, and pancakes piled high. This place represented warmth, care, and community, everything Lydia's vision threatened to tear apart. He smiled at the memories but then felt the tight grip of reality return. When they arrived at Mia's house, they spread out paper and markers across the kitchen table, the scent of old coffee hanging in the air. Bright colors began to form letters on the poster board, announcing the meeting in bold letters. "Join us. Fight for our park." Evan wrote it out, each stroke fueling his passion. "Don't forget to mention what's really at stake," Mia reminded, her voice steady as she added her own thoughts to the mix. "Show them that this park isn't just a green space, it's about us coming together as a community." As they crafted their messages, something changed in Evan. Every flyer they created felt more than just an invitation, it felt like a lifeline for the town. "This is it, Mia. We can make a difference." As the clock ticked closer to midnight, they tackled their final set of flyers. Mia leaned back in her chair and sighed heavily. What if Lydia has something else planned? What if she tries to sabotage us before the meeting? Evan felt the knot return. She will. That's her style. But we can't let that shake us. We're doing this for everyone who wants to see this town thrive. We have to stay focused. Mia grinned. Right, the bigger picture. We can do this. They finished up, phone calls made to friends who promised to help distribute the flyers the next day. Exhausted but exhilarated, they finally parted ways, Evan feeling a mixture of anticipation and dread as they said their goodbyes. That night, sleep didn't come easily. Evan tossed and turned, images of the meeting filling his mind. Every face in his imagination encouraged him, and yet Lydia's warning lingered like a storm cloud. What did "this is just the beginning" really mean? When the sun rose, Evan's resolve solidified. They were ready to stand up, but the shadows of doubt wouldn't fade just yet. As he headed to the town square, the weight of 1,000 expectations settled across his shoulders. As he reached the square, a chill crept into the air, a reminder that the fight was far from over. Word had begun to spread, but so did doubt. Would enough people show up? Would Lydia sabotage their efforts? And then he saw her. Lydia stood tall, a glint of something in her eyes that felt like danger. He knew that whatever came next would test everything he believed in. "Stay close to me," he murmured to himself, heart pounding. "We have to be ready." What was her next move? He could feel the ground shifting beneath his feet, and with it, the looming question echoing through his mind, how far was he willing to go for what he believed in? Evan took a deep breath, scanning the square. People milled about, some stopping to stare at the makeshift stage where he and Mia planned to rally the crowd later. Anxiety laced through him. Everything felt heightened this morning, the distant chatter, laughter, and the rustle of leaves mixed with an overwhelming sense of urgency. Mia arrived a few moments later, clutching a stack of flyers tightly as if they held the power to change the world. "Look," she breathed out, trying to mask her nerves, "I've heard people talking about coming. They're curious." Evan nodded, though doubt still gnawed at him. Curiosity isn't enough. We need passion. We need heart, Mia interjected, her eyes brightening. People need to feel that this is theirs. They need to know what losing the park means. Just then, the square buzzed with anticipation as familiar faces began to gather, friends, neighbors, even strangers. Hope flickered within Evan like a candle in the wind. But then there was Lydia again, leaning casually against a lamppost. She seemed unbothered by the bustling crowd, a smirk playing at the corners of her lips, a reminder that she was ever present, ready to assert her authority. "All right," Evan said, steeling himself. "Let us get this started." Mia stepped onto the makeshift stage, her confidence breaking through the tension. "Hey everyone. Thank you for coming. Today, we're here to talk about our park and what it means for us and for the future of our community." As they spoke, Evan could feel the collective energy of the crowd. He watched their faces, curious, skeptical, but slowly warming to the cause. Every flyer they had handed out felt like it was connecting him to them. Just as Mia began to outline why the park was critical, a sharp voice interrupted her. "What are you two really trying to do here?" Lydia stepped forward, arms crossed. The murmurs in the crowd shifted to uncertain whispers. Evan's heart raced. "We're here because this park is our heart," he said, forcing the words out even as panic threatened to spill over. "It's not just about trees and grass, it's about us. It's our memories and the future of our kids." A man in the crowd spoke up. "But what do you propose? What can a few flyers change?" Mia brushed back her hair, eyes filled with fire. "We can't just sit back and let someone take away the place where we celebrate, grieve, and unite. We all have a stake in this." The crowd slowly responded, murmurs growing louder, but Lydia wasn't backing down. "You really think you can compare an old park to progress? You all would rather cling to the past than embrace a brighter future?" Evan's breath caught in his throat. A familiar sense of anger flared in the pit of his stomach. "And what kind of progress involves tearing down a place that connects us?" He shot back, the heat of his words igniting a ripple of applause from the crowd. Eyes locked with Lydia's, he saw a flash of something, fear, perhaps? Before her mask hardened again. This was more than a disagreement now, it was a confrontation, a clash of ideals and values. Mia turned to Evan, her expression encouraging. "We're not backing down. We need to show them that the community matters more than profit. Are we doing this together?" Evan nodded, determination surging through him. Together. With renewed energy, they launched into their plan for the park, sharing stories and memories that resonated. Just as the momentum reached a peak, Lydia stepped forward again, this time unyielding. "You think this will change anything? I have powerful friends, and I know how to play this game." Evan's heart pounded. What was she really capable of? The stakes were rising, and he had no idea what she might unleash. "Tomorrow will be different," she said, a chilling smile settling on her lips. Evan felt every eye on him, catching the weight of those words. What would Lydia do next? How far would their fight push each of them? His resolve flickered like a candle facing a storm, and he couldn't shake the sinking feeling that this was only the beginning. Evan stood at the forefront of the crowd, heart racing, as tension crackled in the air like static electricity. He felt Mia's hand on his shoulder, grounding him. It was a reminder that they were in this together. But was it enough? Lydia's expression still hung in his mind like a dark cloud, hinting at unseen threats on the horizon. Mia continued her speech, voice steady and full of conviction. This park isn't just greenery. It's laughter, it's community. It's where we learn to ride bikes, where our children play, where we gather for festivals. If we lose it, we lose a part of ourselves. Evan watched the faces around him transform. People shifted from skepticism to contemplation. Some nodded, others exchanged whispers, clearly moved by her words. The flicker of hope in Evan's chest grew stronger. But just as he believed they were connecting, Lydia stepped back into the fray, her confidence unwavering. Emotional appeals are all well and good, but they won't save your park, Lydia prodded, her tone dripping with irony. You need actionable plans, not just stories. She paused, letting her words sink in before proceeding. I could just as easily paint a picture of your precious little park as a haven for vagrants. What's it really worth? The crowd tensed again, the air heavy with uncertainty. Evan's fists clenched. How could Lydia twist their cherished memories into accusations? But as anger surged within him, he felt something else rise to clarity. They were fighting for something real. What are you really afraid of, Lydia? Evan challenged, stepping forward to meet her gaze. Because we see the value that you don't. You want progress, but at what cost? A hollow community with no memories? Enough. Lydia spat, her facade wavering for just a second. The crowd watched with bated breath, and for a heartbeat, Evan could see doubt flickering in her eyes. Maybe he had struck a chord. Mia seized the moment, her voice ringing clear. We're not just here to save a park. We're here to save our community. Join us, we can fight back together. A cheer erupted from the crowd. Evan felt the pulse of unity, their hearts beating as one. They could do this. Suddenly, from among the gathering, an elderly woman stepped forward, her gnarled hands trembling slightly. I used to bring my children here, and now I bring my grandchildren. This park is part of our story. Her voice cracked, and Evan felt his own throat tighten. The memories they all shared were woven together in this very place. Lydia's retreat faltered as the heartfelt stories poured forth. Each person stood, sharing their connections, first loves, birthdays, friendships forged on those very swings. Even the skeptics were swept up in the tidal wave of emotion, and Evan could barely contain the joy bubbling within him, but just as the crowd's resolve broke through, there was a shudder in the air. A car rolled into the square, luxury and power written all over it. The engine roared like a warning. Evan's heart dropped as he recognized who stepped out. It was Mr. Hawkins, the developer Lydia had mentioned. What's going on here? He demanded, surveying the crowd with a disdainful smirk. A chill ran through Evan's spine. This wasn't just a community rally anymore, it had morphed into a confrontation between the heart of the people and the cold grip of corporate greed. Evan's voice, once shaky, now steadied. We're standing together, Mr. Hawkins. We will defend our home. Mr. Hawkins' gaze flicked to Lydia, and her demeanor instantly shifted from confidence to worry. What was their connection? Evan felt the walls closing in, a storm brewing. This was about to get serious. Had they awakened a sleeping giant, or had they finally ignited the fire to defend what mattered most? As Mr. Hawkins scanned the crowd, bolts of tension ignited the space between them. What was his next move? How deep did this fight go? Mr. Hawkins shifted his weight, looking down his nose at the crowd. The disdain in his expression was palpable. Do you really think this little show of sentiment makes a difference? He asked, scoffing. This town needs development progress. You can't hold on to the past forever. Evan felt the heat of anger creeping into his cheeks. Part of him wanted to lash out, to scream that they weren't just clinging to the past, they were fighting for their future. The park was a living, breathing testament to every shared moment, the laughter of children, the warmth of community gatherings. Is that what you call it? Progress? Evan retorted, trying to keep his voice calm despite the tremor of rage within. You see opportunity, we see family. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A few people stepped forward, emboldened by Evan's words. A young mother held her child's hand tightly, eyes alight with determination. You can't just come in here and take what doesn't belong to you. The collective energy in the square surged. Evan could feel it, a mix of fear and courage swirling in the air. We are not just a line on your profit margin, Mr. Hawkins, he added, glancing back at the crowd. We are a community that fights for what matters. A man with graying hair, who had been hesitant to join in earlier, spoke up. This park has seen generations grow up. It's a part of who we are. We'll not let you bulldoze our memories. The crowd echoed their agreement, voices rising in unison. The ground felt unstable beneath Evan's feet, as if the very earth was shaking with their collective passion. This wasn't just about the park anymore, it was about standing firm against everything they had come to love. Lydia scowled at Mr. Hawkins, her own confidence wavering under the weight of the crowd's emotions. You can't treat us like we're disposable, she challenged him, her tone sharp. You know that too. For a moment, Evan thought he saw a flicker of hesitation cross Mr. Hawkins' features, a glimmer of anxiety that he was losing control. But it vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by his usual indifference. We'll be having a meeting, Mr. Hawkins asserted dismissively. Let us see how long this enthusiasm lasts when reality hits. You think a few tearful speeches will win against the law? A murmur of anger rippled through the crowd, but before Evan could respond, Mia pulled him aside. Evan, we need a plan. This isn't just a rally anymore. We need to organize, to show them we're serious. He nodded, heart racing at the thought of how they could fight back. You're right. We need to gather facts, show them how valuable this park really is. Not just to us, but to the entire community. As they exchanged ideas, the atmosphere shifted. People started to gather around, some pulling out their phones, others making plans. Evan felt an electric charge in the air, a sense of community emerging stronger than ever. But amidst the fervor, a small voice piped up from the back of the crowd. What if we lose? What if they don't listen? Echoes of doubt lingered in the air, threatening to undermine their resolve. Evan turned to face the frightened face of a young boy clutching a toy, anxiety etched on his features. A hush fell over the crowd as they absorbed the weight of that question. It was a moment of vulnerability, a chance for the truth to seep through the bravado. Would they truly stand a chance against the giant? Evan stepped forward, holding the boy's gaze. We're not done fighting. If we stand together, we can show them how much this place means. We won't let fear be stronger than love. The crowd rallied behind him, but just as hope began to swell, a shadow loomed overhead. Lily, the neighborhood activist known for her fierce spirit, pushed through the throngs with urgency. Evan. You need to see this. The tension spiked once again as Evan turned, curiosity and dread mingling. What news could she possibly bring that would shake everything they had built up in those fleeting moments of courage? As Lily approached, the smile on her face faltered. It's time for the truth to come out. Evan felt the tension in the air shift suddenly. It wasn't just the gathering crowd or Lydia's icy stare, something deeper was happening. What do you mean? He asked, concern rippling through him. Lily took a breath, steadying herself, her voice sharp with urgency. I found documents. Plans for the park. They're not just trying to bulldoze it down, they want to build a luxury complex. Gasps rippled through the crowd at her words, disbelief spreading like wildfire. Murmurs shifted into anger. They can't take our park, shouted a man in the front. Evan's heart pounded. The stakes had risen. This was about more than just preserving their past. This was a battle for their future and their very identity. Lydia's claims it all makes sense now, he muttered, looking toward his stepmother, whose expression had transformed from pride to panic. "They're trying to erase us." Mia's eyes blazed with determination. "We need those documents. This could be our evidence. We can show the community what they're really planning." Evan nodded fiercely. "Let us share this immediately. We'll go live on social media, we'll make our voices resonate beyond this square. We'll show everyone the truth." As they set the plan into motion, energy crackled around them. People began cheering, rallying together as they spread the word. The sense of unity resonating through the crowd felt different now, stronger. Evan stepped onto the makeshift stage once again, his heart racing. "Listen. Lydia and her allies think they can sweep over our town, but we won't let that happen. The park is our home. It's where memories are made, where laughter echoes through the trees. We'll fight for every child who plays here, and for every family who has ever gathered beneath those branches." The crowd erupted with supportive shouts, energy washing over him like waves crashing onto shore. "We stand for more than a park, we stand for our community, our families." Lydia stood momentarily stricken, fuming, but unable to find her previous bravado. Her lips pressed into a tight line, and the realization seemed to wash over her. Evan and Mia had ignited a fire she couldn't extinguish. The crowd dinged their phones, streaming the unfolding story. "Show the truth. Now!" someone shouted. The energy surged higher, palpable and intoxicating. Media were arriving quickly, sensing a narrative unfolding beyond their wildest expectations. Evan took a deep breath. "Tomorrow we gather, not just as individuals but as a united community ready to fight back. Bring your stories. Bring your memories. We'll flood the town hall, and we will make sure they see us." Murmurs of agreement rang out. As the sky shifted golden with the setting sun, hope blossomed in Evan's chest. The moment felt electric, filled with a fierce sense of belonging. Then, Lydia stepped forward one last time. "This isn't the end, Evan. You have no idea what you're up against." But Evan held his ground. "We know exactly what we're up against. And we will claim our future." Cheers filled the square louder than any roar he had ever heard, a testament to their renewed spirit. No longer were they just fighting against Lydia, they were fighting for something bigger than themselves, something that united every heartbeat in that community. As the crowd began to disperse, adrenaline coursed through him, feeling invincible, connected. There would be battles ahead, but tomorrow would be another chance to fight, to stand together as a family, as a community that recognized the value of love, memories, and shared hope. That night, Evan curled up in bed, exhaustion flooding over him. He felt safe knowing he had Mia, friends, and neighbors ready to weather the storm. Lydia's threats loomed, but they weren't shadows anymore. They were challenges he and his community were prepared to face head-on. They would rescue their memories and turn their community's vision into reality. Together, they could write a new story, a story that honored what mattered most. A story that would shine brighter than Lydia's darkness. The dawn of tomorrow was brimming with possibility. Evan dreamt of laughter on the swings and kids playing tag, the community gathering in unity. And he knew, with every fiber of his being, that they would overcome. The battle was just the beginning and they were ready. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation.